Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. This video is the second part of the Ukraine war update that I make today, the 18th of January 2025, Saturday. I already uploaded the first one. This is the second one, having to do with as they call it, the three main hottest spots in Ukraine. One is at the border with Zaporozhye and Donetsk. The other one obviously is Pokrovsk, and the third one they say is Kursk. First, the Russians are trying to encircle in the south. I will show you what towns they took over and what they try to encircle, and I think they will encircle that. In Pokrovsk they advance, and again they will encircle it. They're not going to fight straight on. And the third one, I will tell you, according to the Russians, how much territory the Russians were able to liberate from NATO in Kursk. So let's start with the first article, starting from Ukrainska Pravda. These guys fixed their little site, they had a little problem or update. Russians tried to encircle Velyka Novosilka. Where is that at? This is in Donetsk Oblast, in the southwest of Donetsk Oblast, by Zaporozhye Oblast and Dnipropetrovsk. So see, this is Dnipropetrovsk. This is Zaporozhye, this is Donetsk Oblast, and this is the town they're talking about, Velyka Novosilka. In here, the Russians are trying to encircle it. Why? Because they already conquered Vremivka, and they will cut off supplies coming from Novosilka, right here. So the Russians will encircle this, as they will go around here like this, and like this, obviously, and here, and here, and here, and here. The Russians are advancing, and they have a big chance, like here, for instance, to go around, and they don't have to fight the city. Like Chasov Yar, if the Russians are capable of going around here, they will encircle it and cut off, which is the main route of supplies. All right, let's go and see what else these guys say. Russian troops are trying to capture Velyka Novosilka in Donetsk Oblast. They are trying to block the road from Zelene Pole and capture the settlement without fighting in an urban part of this town. Of course, the enemy's plan to capture Velyka Novosilka without engaging in fighting in an urban area is becoming more and more obvious. The enemy will try to improve their position to the north and south of Novi Komar, cutting the road from Zelene Pole and reaching the gully in the north. The enemy has captured Neskuchne over the past 3 days and is currently conducting a final cleaning of Vremivka. Final clearing of Vremivka, which is right here. This is Vremivka. So they are advancing this way, and they're just going to cut off the supply lines for Velyka Novosilka. This is according to these guys. The latter is the most lost, so Vremivka is almost lost, although even if we still have an observation post in the village, it will not matter. Correct. While in the middle of the day of the 15th of January, there was still information that the Ukrainian defense forces were residing in Neskuchne. By nightfall, the Russians were already in the center of Vremivka. So, we still don't know how 2 whole villages became empty in 3 days. Well, maybe bad planning. People don't want to fight anymore for Zelensky's time. Right, next one. Russian forces, this is from the Ukrainians, the new voice of Ukraine. Russian forces push forward. This is according to the liars, big liars, because they're part of the team, Institute for the Study of War, the think tank located in Washington, D.C., with Miss Kimberly Keegan, the director, married with Mr. Kagan. She's Kagan, I'm sorry, not Keegan, Kagan, married with Mr. Kagan, who's the brother of another Kagan, who's the husband of Victoria Nuland. All 4 of them are part of the chosen good people, and you know what I mean. All right, so you know how accurate that information is. And they report on another guy, Zelensky Stein, in Ukraine, in charge of Ukraine, together with Mihal and Reznikov used to be, and Yermak still is. Now, these guys report gains in Vremivka, which is already occupied, Pokrovske and Kursk Oblast. So they're talking about these guys are attacking in Vremivka. Let me make it like this. Pokrovsk, Krasnoarmeysk, as the Russians call it, and Kursk. This is right here, where NATO tried something to force the Russians surrender or maybe negotiations, which was garbage. I will show you what the Russians say, how much they liberated. They pushed these guys back. Let's see what these guys are saying. Russian forces captured the village of Vremivka and made additional gains along the front in their efforts to encircle Velyka Novosilka, the one I showed you in Donetsk Oblast, the Institute for the Study of War said. All right, we already know then that new voice of Ukraine, again, this comes from the Ukrainians. Fierce battles rage near Pokrovsk as Ukraine denies Russian troops' presence in the city. All right, so we shift into Pokrovsk now from the south. So from this area right here, we're going to go a little bit northeast. So from here, we're going to move right here. This is Pokrovsk. This is not a really updated map. The Russians are deeper in here and deeper in here. But hey, this I like the way this exactly shows who's what's what. All right, let's see what these guys are saying. The Ukrainians. There are no Russian troops in Pokrovsk, said the these guys dismissing online reports as false. Some media outlets and social networks are spreading information about the enemy's presence in Pokrovsk. This information does not correspond to reality. The operational situation in Pokrovsk, our area, remains one of the most challenging on the front line. Heavy fighting continues near the outskirts of the agglomeration. Ready? So these guys are close but not there. This is Pokrovsk. The Russians are trying to go around. The situation near Pokrovsk. On January 10th, the head of... Okay, I'm not going to go there. I'm going to go to the... Where? On the 16th, it was reported that mine workers in Pokrovsk destroyed the shaft of a local mine to prevent Russian occupiers to accessing underground tunnels. The mine was the only one in Ukraine producing coal, cooking coal essential for steel industry. That means you're done. You're toast. So, where's Vremivka? We already discussed that one. Vremivka is, I'm not going to go here, even though, right there. This is Vremivka, the one that the Russians took over. This is where the Russians are trying to encircle Velyka Novosilka. So this is where the Russians already occupied. So if you look over here, the Ukrainians have only this part right here, because the Russians are already here according to this map right here. So what you saw over there is Vremivka. It's the Russian and the Ukrainian names, which I will pronounce however I feel like. Next one. Russia Today. Russia has retaken majority of territory Ukraine occupied in Kursk Region. Ministry of Defense. Is it true? Time will tell. I think it is true, or they are progressing towards Kiev. I'm just exaggerating, but hey, that's going to happen. 4 villages in the border region have been recaptured in January alone. Russian troops have now liberated more than 63% of the territory of Kursk region previously occupied by Ukrainian military. I expected more, to be straight, but anyway, this equates to 801 square kilometers out of the 1,268 square kilometers seized by Kiev's forces during its August incursion. I think that is it's a success, but it's very mild success. You can't push them out of your country. I personally did not expect that. I thought the Russians will just flatten them out just like that. But hey, what do I know? So here it is, as I said. The first one is the encirclement of the town of Bethlehem, Velyka Novosilka. They took over the little village of, where is that at? Vremivka. And they are advancing toward Pokrovsk, and they push back the Ukrainians, as they say, 63% out of Kursk incursion. And that's it. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.